Who is your favorite musical artist?
Bob Marley.
Your most visited holiday destination?
Goa.
Goa. Many of us, typical tribals. You are.
Yeah.
Politics is dynamic. Issues are changing. Expectations are high. This is where you'll hear our leaders speak. Are we ready? Let's start.
It's supposed to be a very old house.
It's not yet a heritage, right?
It's like a heritage house only, Pakna, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, Dr. Ampareen Lyngdoh. It's nice and we feel honored to have you as our guest this afternoon. So before we start, I'd like to introduce you to the listeners. You are an MLA from what?
16 East Shillong.
16 East Shillong. Very good. So can you tell something about yourself, your academic background and your experience that you have had before entering politics?
I was a student of Loreto Convent.
Loreto Convent.
And then surprisingly to most people, but I had 2 years of fun time in Shillong College where I did my 11-12.
11-12.
Then I went to Jesus and Mary College where I graduated.
Mary Convent in Delhi, no?
Yes, New Delhi, Delhi University. I graduated in English. And then I cleared the Jamia entrance. So I'm a graduate, postgraduate of Jamia Millia Islamia in mass communication.
Mass communication.
Then I worked with NDTV. Then I worked with Doordarshan Kendra. And then I came back to start Doordarshan Kendra Shillong. And then I was whisked away from Doordarshan Kendra Shillong to St. Anthony's College.
How many years you were with Doordarshan Kendra
I was
Shillong?
in Doordarshan for at least 5 years, almost 5 years, almost 5 years. Then I was whisked away to St. Anthony's College where I began the mass communication department. So subsequent to that I completed my PhD from Information and Library Sciences, and I did my PhD on the role that the media plays during period of unrest, social unrest.
From Northeastern Hill University,
Northeastern Hill University, yes.
That's good. So you've got a wide experience.
Yes.
The people must be lucky to have you as their representative with such a vast experience where you can convert into practical duty that you are entrusted with.
Yes.
So you were a minister also, no? You won the first time in 2008.
And then I had a by-election after the president's rule in 2009. Then I again became the MLA of, at that point of time, Limekrat Nong Thumai. And then subsequently the nomenclature of my constituency changed to 16 East. And then I won in 2013 again, I won in 2018. And now I'm preparing for 2023.
That means you have won 2008, 2009, 2013 and 2018.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Your father also was an MLA for 4 times.
Yes, yes.
But he had additional political qualifications. He was a MDC and chairman of Khas Hills Autonomous District Council.
Yes.
From 1984 to 1989.
Yes.
Then he became MLA again, he became speaker.
Yes.
And he was MP for 2 terms. I hope you will be an MP one day. But before that, we'll see what comes through. So you were a minister of how many portfolios during your time?
You know, I was Minister of Education. I won't remember the exact years, but I was...
only the department.
I took care of education. I took care of urban affairs. I took care of housing, food civil supply, tourism. PWD building, printing and stationery. More or less, I remember those departments.
Well, you've got quite a good number of major departments.
Yes.
Yes.
I was fortunate.
So So if you don't mind, I'll start with a very controversial issue, because once there are developmental issues, public oriented departments, there must be pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages, ups and downs. Generally we pinpoint the negative points aspect, but however we'll come to that. These last few days we have seen, before I mentioned that, what you are now actually, you are not a minister.
No, I am not a minister, but I've joined the MDA government.
But you have been offered certain posts in the MDA government.
Yes, they did offer me, but I have refrained from taking up any major assignment at this point of time, because my duty or my obligation to the MDA is to strengthen it and not to create more confusion. So I have gone there with one intention in mind, one target in mind, and that is to strengthen the MDA government.
To strengthen the MDA and
yes.
to try to clear some pending problems as far as can be, with your wide experience.
Correct.
So good. That means very rare for a politician to refrain or to refuse.
Yeah.
People will leave the party to become ministers. Very good. Very good thing that you gesture on your part. I'll start with education. We do say that teaching is a noble profession. In fact, we celebrate Teachers' Day on the 5th of September every year. It is the birth anniversary of our Vice President, later on he became President, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan.
Yes.
Great philosopher, great thinker, and great educationist.
Yes.
So don't you think that there's something communication gap or something that went wrong in the way with our education system? Because this problem does not exist only here. It is a national problem.
See, I observe that the education department, like any other social sector in governance, will always be a big challenge.
Yeah.
The huge numbers of stakeholders involved in education is what makes it this complicated. You will see that since the inception of the state of Meghalaya, there were huge backlogs of LP schools that were called the DC LP school or the district council LP schools. Government at that point of time took up all of these ailing institutions and made them all government institutions. Now, following that, because of the various policies of the government of India in those years, you had each one teach one, then you had a more aggressive approach in the SSA and the RMSA, and state governments were required to expand their educational systems. Now, in an attempt to increase and strengthen the network of education to ensure that all citizens under the age of 18 are in educational institutions, the government had to widen its web. And in the process of widening its web, it has adopted approximately about 12,000 LP schools
12,000
under the, I think it's about 14,000 if I have my memory correct, of the so-called SSA and RMSA schools. So now that's a big burden, because when the SSA was first implemented as a policy by the government of India, every state was asked to target about 4,000 schools.
4,000 schools.
But the government of Meghalaya, in order to reach every child citizen in the state, had to take much more schools on board. Now all of that has become a huge burden for a resource poor state like the state of Meghalaya. Other states have huge resources, unlike the state of Meghalaya, where our only resource would be predominantly in the mineral sector. And then you have all the fallout of the banning of mining, of
and with this
various
NGT banning,
all kinds of independent bodies came in, and there was a huge standstill on the resource collection.
This COVID pandemic has affected
this is something which has happened now, But in the earlier years, where at least there was some resource collection,
Yes.
government of Meghalaya was to a large extent empowered financially to reach out and maintain all of these schools, which government of India now refuse to handhold any longer.
But education is a concurrent subject since 1976.
Yes.
And generally for all the states of the northeast, all Himalayan belt, including Himachal Pradesh, the central government, knowing the financial constraint, they are having that agreement 90:10, 90% be borne by the center, 10% by the state. What happens?
See, even if you are as a government of India willing to support educational institutions in these states which are already in a very challenged location, you still have to give a special focus on support for education to states where connectivity is a problem, where landscape is a problem, where severe weather conditions remains to be a problem. So government of India, I feel, should look at states such as Meghalaya, which require this hand holding for a much longer period, and in fact should get into policy decisions which would even look at financial assistance to such states without any state or center share.
Very good.
So these are some of the critical issues that need to be addressed immediately. And also I envisage that there are huge communication gaps between various groups of teachers with the government of India. As a country, India still is behind other developing states.
Yeah.
And when you compare us to first world states, we are far behind. So I was of the opinion that we must engage with these different groups of teachers
Yes.
in a much professional way. So I hope that one day the government of Meghalaya will be able to design and put in place such a system. We need litigation systems. All of our bureaucrats get engaged with all of these interactions with the different managing committees or groups of teachers, that they no longer have time to look at the other requirements to ensure that education in the state of Meghalaya is improving and rising. So we need to look at systems which have worked in different first world countries or even other developing countries, and see whether those formulas can be applied to the state of Meghalaya. I strongly believe that we must engage with teachers rather than confronting them or taking them against a wall where they likely will get into agitational programs, which does not augur well for any state, because teachers are a class of their own, and I would look forward to that day when the state of Meghalaya is able to get behind all of this. I hope that now, with the opening up of scientific mining in the state of Meghalaya, we will open our coffers up again.
Let's hope so.
And once the coffers open, then you will have a lot of these opportunities for the government of Meghalaya to engage actively and aggressively to deal with all of these incumbent issues of teachers, which anyways no one government should be made to take burden of.
You are right that you have said connectivity and interrelation action and mutual understanding. You see, according to the Constitution of India, universalization of education, everyone below the age of 18 should be in school. In Meghalaya, according to census, there are more than 5,000, nearly 6,000 villages. Each of these villages should have a school. Some villages have got 20 households, 10 households.
Correct.
In Nongspong, Mauflam Constituency, there's one village, 10 households, and the name is Martin. 10 means 10 people. So therefore, to generalize them with the state of Mizoram, which has got hardly 1/3 of number of villages that we have, to generalize and uniformalize at the same level, it is it is not good actually.
Yes.
But I would like to say there are problems. I have known of certain teachers, husband and wife, they are both teachers, and not get salary for 2, 3, 4 months. I don't know how they manage. Even the shops that lend them will not keep them. So don't you feel this? A hungry teacher cannot effectively teach the students.
I feel very strongly and I empathize with such families and such teachers who are facing this predicament. And there is no one-stop solution for all of these issues. I would like to engage, I would like to lend support to the MDA government to try and get through this otherwise very hostile situation that we see emerging in the state of Meghalaya. It is not going to be easy, but there is no harm in placing some approaches to ensure that we're able to solve at least 40 to 50% of the issues of teachers. And I think that we do have hope, and I must encourage the suffering teachers that the government is not deaf or not blind to your issues and your problems, but the government has to look for solutions which will have long-lasting effects. So I am hopeful. And I hope that by 2023 Meghalaya will be in a better position with as far as issues of teachers is concerned. You should not forget that the pandemic itself has taken back education to one generation. We will have so many problems, and students will be the main sufferers in this entire education or information and knowledge gap.
I don't know how
we need to figure a way out
for such a loss. I don't know, the future generations are really affected very much. Thank you, you have done well, you are doing well. And MD has got a very good asset in your personality with your experience. And together with the Department of Education and Cabinet as a whole, they can share your experiences, and hopefully we'll have some solution. And I appeal to you through this interview that please reach out to the teachers, please. It's very simple. I feel like when I look at the students, I feel the pain. So please reach out to them and try to at least some solution to be up to them. So anyway, that is because education is so many stages: lower primary, upper primary, secondary school, higher secondary school, colleges, and
pre-primary.
So many.
Because in the National Education Policy, you have a pre-primary sector as well, which used to be under the purview of social welfare, but then that is going to get bifurcated now, or we need to figure out a system where you can merge the approach of the social welfare department and the requirements of pre-primary education vis-a-vis the already existing pre-primary teachers as well.
I like to do a rapid fire with you, so not more than 5 seconds on each question. I hope you don't mind, no?
No, I don't.
Your people will feel proud of you. I'll ask 15 questions. Who is your favorite musical artist?
Bob Marley.
Your favorite actor, male?
I had said Richard Gere.
Oh, female?
I have a lot of women actresses that I like.
What is your most visited restaurant in Meghalaya?
City Dhaba.
Most admired politician of Meghalaya in the current assembly?
I would say Conrad, because
all-time favorite politician in Meghalaya since 1972?
My father. He is my hero.
Not that he's your father, but his performance and his reputation. Most inspiring national political leader?
I think it would be late Srimati Indira Gandhi.
Most influential national leader from the Congress in a good way, up till now?
Kapil Sibal.
Kapil Sibal, Most inspiring Prime Minister of India?
Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan Singh, not Pranab Mukherjee.
No.
He did not have the opportunity. The most inspiring chief minister across any state, not Meghalaya, at any point of time.
I think it's Kejriwal.
Kejriwal, Aam Aadmi Party, yes. He delivered, no?
Yes.
Someone you think should be in politics, but is not currently.
Mother Teresa.
Difficult, no?
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa. Your most visited holiday destination?
Goa.
Goa. Many of us, typical tribals, you are like us. Your go-to hobby to relax and enjoy?
I love cooking in my kitchen.
I should come and eat.
Yes.
Share your food one day. A song that makes you emotional?
Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram.
I become
Salute
very
Mother
emotional.
India.
Yes.
Who composed Vande Mataram, you remember?
It's slipping my mind, but I used to know.
One Mr. Chatterjee, no? From Bengal.
Okay.
A movie that made you cry?
Titanic.
Yeah, Titanic. In fact,
Old fashioned.
tears came down, no?
Yes.
Based on true story.
Yes.
1912, no?
Something like that.
Yeah. So now we'll venture into another department, which you have been doing it during your tenure. That's tourism. I think that's better we talk on it, because now with so many people seeking jobs, why not tourism, which will be enable our youth to be job givers, no longer job seekers.
Yes.
Don't you think so?
Yes, and the MDA government has correctly focused specifically on the tourism section.
Tourism.
So tourism sectors, and I have seen in our various interactions on the floor of the House in the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly, whenever we talk about the potential job creation and job giving sector like tourism industry in the state of Meghalaya, we are now able to see some of that investment bearing fruit. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, many of the homestays that were initiated with the help of the government of Meghalaya took a big beating, but very quickly the tourism sector is now picking up as we speak, and I'm told that even yesterday it was quite difficult to get accommodation in even homestays across some of the popular sectors in the tourism.
Most of these homestays are Shillong centric. Don't you think you should be in the located in the places where the tourism spots are located?
Which is what exactly the MDA government is now focusing on. It is taking tourism impetus towards rural Meghalaya in an attempt to arrest the rural population towards urban centers.
That means instead of migrating from rural to urban, people will go from urban to exchange to
which
rural.
Is what is working at the moment. I personally have engaged with a lot of individuals who are now running homestays in suburban Shillong or towards Mauplang, towards Nongstoin, towards Cherrapunji. So in the eastern part of the state, we are seeing that it is working very well. So we're looking at even Jayanti Hills, all of the circuits towards that area. You know, now there are popular tourist spots going all the way to the border between India and Bangladesh as well, let alone interstate borders. We're looking at international borders. We're looking at some of the attention being given to the development of all of these tourism spots. It's working very well. Homestays in rural Meghalaya now have a management by locals of those areas.
And they are job givers also.
And it's working very well. I think that the government of Meghalaya over the years has done a good job in trying to focus its attention on entrepreneurship with relation to the tourism sectors.
Now, coming to these entrepreneurs, I think you are well aware that most of them have taken loans from the government, not loan, help of government.
Soft loans.
About
Soft loans.
70% is subsidy, no?
Correct.
And 30% is loan component.
Correct.
Now during this pandemic, they have to face a lot of problem, no income. How does the government extend its help towards these young potential entrepreneurs to relieve them of their financial peril?
I think that the government, the MDA government, is already attending to this issue, and I know that waiver of loan repayment for the 30% loan component of this approach or in the tourism sector, many individuals, entrepreneurs are now being waived off. Loans are being waived off, not entire 30%, but substantial amounts, or have been allowed to restart where they left off prior to the pandemic, and then continue again post pandemic. So government is aware and seized of this issue, and I know that at the table of the Honorable Chief Minister, who himself is the Tourism Minister, he is already attending to all of these grievances. And I'm told that there are systems in place now for a registry of such victims who have not been able to recover investment due to losses during the pandemic period. So it's not that the government is unaware and is taking no action.
So practical steps are being taken.
Yes,
good.
Aggressively.
Good news.
Aggressively.
And you see, the center has tried to arrest the flow of migrants from villages to towns. That's why they are developing these suburbs. Now there's a new term called urban.
Yes.
Rural and urban.
Yes.
And this central government now is doing that, NDA government.
Yes, yes.
So it's very good.
Yes.
Now coming to tourism again, now these national highways are coming up, especially from Jorobad up to Dauki under the JICA, JICA, Japanese help. So I hope it will be completed, but there's a provision that people can start from small hotels along the wayside for the convenience of the travelers, but they should provide restrooms, washrooms there.
Yes.
And in fact, for these small entrepreneurs, they are extending financial help up to 10 lakhs.
Yes.
And 7 lakhs will be subsidy, 3 lakhs is loan component at less interest rate.
Yes, yes. So there is this big effort being put in. In collaboration between the Government of India and the state governments. You will notice that wherever there are fuel centers, wherever there are petrol pump centers, even there you will see that certain components of every petrol pump must include restrooms, cafes, and other such facilities which would be friendly for travelers. So you are seeing that there is this nice combination between efforts put in by government in the center and government in the state. All of this will take concrete shape in the coming decade. Any policy taken,
for example, Shillong, Juwai, Srcha Road,
correct.
Many openings will be there for the unemployed youth.
Correct, correct. Yes. But it's just that our youth should be confident and comfortable with opting for entrepreneurship rather than solely depending on government jobs.
See what happened, Dr. Ampareen, is this. For the youth who have been involved in academic all along, to suddenly become entrepreneur, there's many constraints. So the government should try to help them through the skill development or the mindset to adopt according to this. Don't you feel the government should involve these tourist experts to interact with these entrepreneurs?
See, the problem stems predominantly from the fact that parents have great expectation from their children. But in this generation, parents of our generation know that if a child is not academically inclined, we will already branch out to entrepreneur skills. So even generation between my father's generation and my generation, our approaches have changed. We do not believe that every child must be a graduate. We do not believe that every child must take science. We know that there are all these different different forms of acquiring knowledge. For example, once upon a time, a child who's doing a science stream would only have two options of a career. One is being a doctor and one is being an engineer. But today you have the paramedical lines. So you have technicians of various kinds, you have experts of various kinds, you also have physiotherapy, you also have, so now you have every, you have a strong possibility that citizens will be well informed about their career paths before taking them.
I think you are well aware that under the new education policy, the so-called liberalization, liberal arts, so people can take, for example, mathematics, history, and geography, or mathematics, physics, and education. So of course that will be a different topic altogether. You have to bring to the awareness of the government, the training, the seminar, workshop should be held. So very good. Coming back to tourism, that's very good. Once these national highways are open to the youth, many of them will be employed and will be job givers. Juwai, West Castle, Tura, and then William Nagar, all these.
In fact, this generation of citizens are far more fortunate than our generation of citizens, because we had very limited scope, limited options. One never thought out of the box, but you have today governments which are putting policies in place which think out of the box, which become practical.
For example, I'll tell you, I know some youths very good in academics, but they are continuing with sports academy. They are in football, basketball. So they are no longer only to academic but also sports academy, because education is an enabling factor for these people.
Say for example, I just want to give you one anecdote. When I finished my graduation from Delhi University, my father was hell-bent on ensuring that I coached for the IAS coaching. He wanted to see me as a bureaucrat. And I literally had to request him to allow me to go into mass communication. And he said, what is this mass communication? Where will you get a livelihood from mass communication? But today you have seen that parents are far more liberal. So you not only have a policy which is liberal, you also have mindsets which are now liberal. And you will be surprised to know that entrepreneurship is a far more possible, positive, enabling option for youth of today. My children are not looking at government jobs. They feel that being in government jobs would be stifling and suffocating for them.
And the freedom will be curtailed.
But when we were growing up, our parents had a different mindset. So things are changing.
This is 21st generation. That's why our motto is politics is dynamic. And then issues are changing. Expectations are high, So therefore we should allow the present generation to think beyond the box of narrow-mindedness. So now you have been an MLA of Lyngdoh for the last, now Lyngdoh for the last 2008, nearly 14 years.
15
Next year
years.
we are going to fight election. I like to ask, what have you done? Important thing for Lyngdoh constituency then and now is Shalom.
I think I would be.
Before even, may I ask, what have you been doing for Lyngdoh market with regard to congestion and parking of vehicles? Can you tell a little?
See, I would feel very happy to have been instrumental in redesigning and bringing in a new Lajongkra, a new Malki, a new Lachumia, a new Keting Road. When I took over as an MLA, there were so many essential services that were not in place because of the then systems of politics. Today, door-to-door delivery of water is something which is not worrisome any longer. Yes, we have some challenges in power, but as we speak today, So many of our power systems have been upgraded to even match the power demands of this generation.
Do not mind if I interrupt. Can you please elaborate what happens in Lime Kra? Because when I travel there, I find very inconvenient to park my vehicle or to enter Bajak Bazaar. What have you been doing, Aisha?
See, as of today, why are citizens feeling the pinch or feeling inconvenienced as you go to Lime Kra market? That's because the one big parking lot that was there for the citizens to park their vehicles, the one big road that was available for parking of vehicles would be because of the redevelopment of the Lime Kra market. So you're feeling this very much because this is what we call the project building period. But in 2 years, let me assure the people of Lime Kra or any citizen of Shillong coming to Lime Kra, you will have a 3-storied parking space. You will have a beautiful market in position. We will also expand.
Stalls will be around.
We are looking at approximately 300 plus facilities in the 3-story Lime Kra market.
And parking will accommodate how many vehicles?
We are looking at parking at one time in Lime Kra Bazaar. Parking facility should be between 150 to 200 vehicles.
At one time? At
one time. These are just things that are again expanding as the project goes on the ground, as we are able to evaluate the requirements for the market. I can assure the people that you're just seeing this happening now. Another reason for the congestion that you see is the roadside hawkers. We've been engaging with this problem for a very long period of time. Several interventions have also occurred, but let me assure the people coming to Lime Kra over and above the citizens of Lime Kra that this is going to be a thing of the past shortly. We are already looking at relocation schemes, relocation projects to take hawkers to their correct destinations. Right now, you cannot expect any government to go strong against hawkers because there are legal systems in place. They have their rights to an opportunity for employment. Many of them are educated.
Especially girls. No?
So we are obliged to create spaces for alternative businesses. So let me tell the people through your channel that government is seized of these apprehensions.
That means these hawkers will be compensated.
We will relocate them to a designated location. It's just that right now we are creating these relocation spaces. It's not going to be easy. We understand that there's a lot of inconvenience, but everybody has to give and take. But as the MLA of 16 East Shillong, I am not deaf nor am I blind. I'm putting in place systems which will address this glaring problem that is being felt by people who come to Lime Kra or who are permanent citizens of Lime Kra.
Problem is also very acute here. And
the traffic issue continues to be a big concern even for the government, even for the MDA government. That is why the MDA government has acquired new land at Maupadang, which is adjacent to Sauli and other areas of the New Shillong town. When we were talking about the New Shillong town,
how many acres of land?
I'm forgetting the details, but I think a lot of land has now been acquired. When we were talking about New Shillong township in 2008, 9, 10, the people of Shillong city were very apprehensive, they were very angry. But today when you look at the usage of the New Shillong township, I think there is not one citizen who will regret.
Many are wishing that it should be implemented soon.
See, you already have the Negrams facility, you have that huge government of Meghalaya facility there where you have all the big institutions there, you have Matti, you have the hotel management, you have the IIM, you have the fashion, the NIFT campus. All of those campuses are now going to be bringing flourishing opportunity for citizens in those regions.
I think that
Ayush is already there. So see, this is what we were talking about in 2008. But nobody
But
ever
now-
believed us.
But now you are
But today you have those
but now
facilities
they are
and see
trying
how
to
it's going.
Pinpoint the fingers at the government why you are delaying.
So now again you see that what happened 10, 15, 20 years ago was something that people could not understand.
But now-
And when I'm telling you that this government has acquired the land in Maupadang and they're going to be relocating the administrative buildings and services to Maupadang, believe me when I tell you it's going to happen.
Huh.
And when that happens, you're going to have a Shillong city which is far less clogged, far less pressured, and I have faith. The other thing, of course, land in Meghalaya belongs to the private landowner. If you want wider roads, you should come forward and offer your land so that we can have proper two-lane roads with parking facilities. It's so easy for people to sit at home and complain, but when we are actually widening a road, even in a small locality in my constituency, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of anger, people don't want to
This is human
part.
tendency. Dr. Ampareen, we are living in a land where the women reign, matrilineal society. Yet I find it's quite a paradox. We do not send enough women representatives to the assembly. I think at present 3 plus you 4, no?
4.
In a house of 60, not even 6%, 6.6%.
0.6, maybe 0.3%.
6.6%. Okay. Now, you have been an MLA for 4 terms continuously. Your father was a minister, was a speaker, he was a member of parliament. Your elder brother for 2 terms, he made a name for himself. Don't you feel that ambition that one day a matrilineal society needs a woman chief minister? Before you answer, other states where patriarchy is supreme, yet they produce efficient chief minister. Jayalalitha of Tamil Nadu, Mamata Banerjee of West Bengal, Sheila Dixit of Delhi, and many years earlier, Sucheta Kripalani. She was Bengali, married to a Sindhi, that's why Kripalani. She did perform very well. So even nearby in Assam, we had Anwara Taimur also at the time. Don't you think that your ambition should at least be realized, provided you do not ride roughshod over others?
That's a $1 million question,
Yeah.
and yes, it is very disheartening to
With
see.
your qualification, your experience, your background, your performance, see, we take the general aspect of humanity. See, there are defects here and there, but these they are not to be counted in front of so many. If 90% is good, the 10% minor ailments should be brushed aside. Headaches, simple diarrhea, we take simple medicine, we are cured. Don't you think so?
See, I know that that would be a very ideal situation. Whether or not I have that dream, I don't even have time to dream that kind of a dream, because I work on a daily basis. I try to achieve my targets on a regular basis. I have certain things that I need to do. I do not do all of this to one day become a chief minister. But yes, it is very unfortunate that in our region of Ribhoi, Jaintia Hills and East Khasi Hills, literally I have been the only surviving MLA.
Yeah.
It is very
Never sent a
disheartening.
woman MLA.
Yes, I would like to see one day that yes, we do bring forward a woman chief minister, but whether that person will be not me or not, it would be destiny that will take us there. I only know that man or woman, once you are representing so many thousands of people in your constituency, you have to deliver, you have to work hard, you have to make sure that you differentiate between singing a chorus and actually writing a real sensible song. So yes, I wish to still be alive to
But you
see
must
a
have a
woman
dream.
chief
I think you
minister.
must have a dream that one day, if not you,
Yes.
woman will be chief minister.
Yes, and we must nurture more women to participate in electoral politics.
Isn't
Right
it?
now, there are not enough.
Yeah. Reverend Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. He was inspired by a woman,
Yes.
Rosa Parks, the black who refused to give a seat to white person.
Yes.
But she resisted, and from there the movement started. And Reverend Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, not for himself, but for the community.
Yes.
And within a few years, few decades, Barack Obama, the first colored president
Yes.
of America.
Yes.
So I hope your dream, if not you, at least
Women folk in
Women
general
folk,
must
yeah.
help each other to also envisage and see for themselves that women are capable of leading and being effective legislators.
even throughout the world, Margaret Thatcher, Srimabo Bandaranaike,
Yes.
Golda Meir.
Yes. Yes, I wish to see that someday.
Anyway, before we conclude, now come to this memory test game, not the memory game. I'll read to you the list of 10 personalities in order. Please bear in mind, so that when you answer, need not necessarily be in the order I read. Okay? Rajdeep Sardesai, 1. Arnab Goswami, 2. 3. Shekhar Gupta. 4. Barkha Dutt, a lady. 5. Nidhi Rasdan. 6. Ravish Kumar. 7. Punya Prasun Bajpai. 8. Vishnu Shom. 9. Pranoy Roy. 10. Bikram Chandra.
So there's Chandra, there's Roy, there's Vajpayee, there's Nidhi, there's Barkha, there's Goswami, there's what's his name? The guy from NDTV. I'm forgetting his name. Shom. And then there's I don't remember anymore.
Famous. Grey hair like me.
Forgetting.
Rajdeep.
Rajdeep Desai, yes, Desai.
I'll
Yes.
deduct half mark for that. So
Yes,
you're getting
yes.
9.5 out of 10.
Yes.
Now, can you name the common link between these 10 personalities?
The media, of course.
Media.
Yes.
Like you.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You perform well.
Thank you.
Your constituents will really be proud of you.
I hope so.
I was a voter of Lyngdoh.
I know.
Yes, but then
I know.
I shifted to Nongkrem.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. Sir, I'm 55.
20 years have
Yes,
the
sir.
need wisdom and experience.
Yes.
I hope one day your dream will be a reality.
I hope so
Good.
too.
Best of luck.
Thank you.